buys comfort, the kind that buys power. My father, Victor Hayes, built a real estate empire that touched half the skyline of Los Angeles. He was ruthless, brilliant, and terrifyingly charming, the kind of man who could close a billion-dollar deal and destroy a life in the same breath. Growing up, I thought he was a god. He used to call me his little diamond. I believed him, until I realized diamonds only shine after pressure. My mother died when I was 10, a car accident, they said. But I remember the whispers at the funeral, the hushed voices, the way my father wouldn't meet my eyes. He remarried 2 years later, a woman named Cassandra, young enough to be my sister, smart enough to play the long game. She came with a son, Ethan. At first, it felt like we were a family again. Cassandra hugged me, told me I was beautiful, that she'd always wanted a daughter. But soon, little things started changing. My mother's paintings disappeared from the walls, my room was moved, and every family dinner became a performance. Father's praise shifted. The spotlight moved, from me, to Ethan. I graduated top of my class in business school. I thought my father would be proud, maybe offer me a role at Hayes Enterprises. Instead, he gave it to Ethan. And when I confronted him, he laughed. "Sweetheart, you're too emotional for this business," he said. "It's better if you focus on something smaller, maybe fashion or charity work. Something softer." I smiled, nodded, and walked out. That was the night I promised myself I'd take back everything they stole. For 2 years, I disappeared. No calls, no visits. They thought I'd given up, the sad daughter who couldn't keep up with the men. But I wasn't gone. I was learning. Watching. While Ethan ran my father's empire into headlines and scandals, I built something of my own, a company in silence. A tech firm that quietly acquired the smaller holdings my father ignored. Every deal I made looked harmless, small companies, startups, shell accounts. But together, they formed a web. And that web led straight into the heart of Hayes Enterprises. I had help, people my father underestimated. His assistant, fired for a mistake that wasn't hers. His lawyers in turn, who wanted revenge for being used. And one investor who'd lost millions in one of my father's strategic collapses. I gave them loyalty, respect, and purpose. Something my father never did. 3 years later, I walked into Hayes Tower, unannounced, uninvited, unstoppable. The receptionist froze. Ethan looked up from his glass office, his smile fading as he saw me walking down the marble floor in a white suit, calm, confident, untouchable. "Long time no see, sis," he smirked. "You here for a tour?" I smiled. "No. I'm here for my company." He laughed, until I dropped the folder on his desk. Inside, stock certificates, merger papers, contracts signed under subsidiaries. Everything legal. Everything theirs, but owned by me. Hayes Enterprises wasn't his anymore. It was mine. Ethan's face drained of color. Father stormed in minutes later, red with rage. "Sienna, what is this?" "Business," I said softly. "The kind you said I wasn't built for." For once, he didn't have words. He just stared at me, that calculating look he used to give his rivals, realizing too late that he'd raised one. But I wasn't done. I leaned in close, whispered, "You taught me how to win. You just forgot to teach me mercy." That afternoon, news broke. Victor Hayes steps down as CEO amid corporate takeover by daughter. Ethan's scandals resurfaced. Fraud, insider trading, all traceable. Cassandra's secret accounts, exposed. I didn't ruin them. I simply revealed who they really were. The world called it a power shift. I called it justice. In the weeks that followed, Father tried to reach out. He sent flowers, letters, even invited me to dinner. But I didn't go. Because revenge isn't about watching them suffer, it's about finally sleeping without anger in your chest. A month later, I visited my mother's grave for the first time in years. The city lights flickered in the distance, the skyline my father built, now mine. I placed a single diamond on her tombstone. Pressure makes diamonds, right? I whispered. You'd be proud, Mom. The wind felt warm that night, like she was listening. And for the first time, I didn't feel like a daughter chasing her father's approval. I felt like a woman who had taken back her story, and rewritten it in her own name. Because sometimes revenge isn't cruel. Sometimes it's justice wearing high heels and a quiet smile.